I was very struck by the Right Honourable Gentleman's speech, and he said at one point that the government hadn't changed. In fact, the one thing that hadn't changed was the Right Honourable Gentleman. I listened to his speech, and I was taken back to the time I was a backbencher in 2014 when he was the leader of the opposition, and he could have said exactly the same thing. It was always the same thing, that he does the country down. He says that we always talk about austerity. How could he talk about austerity when he himself acknowledged that the Chancellor has spent £350 billion in an unprecedented support in furlough and unprecedented support for British business? The world that he is describing is the world of his tenure as leader of the opposition. There may well be a vacancy. Who knows? He could come back. But it's not a world that many millions of people in this country recognise. The country that I see is completely different from the gloom and doom that the leader of the opposition, oh, forgive me, he's not the leader of the opposition, maybe in the future, that he paints. It was extraordinary to hear him again denigrate the achievements we've made in the green revolution, the green industrial revolution. It was only a month ago that John Kerry said to me, and he was good enough to say this publicly, that the efforts of this government, the efforts of this country had been extraordinary, and we were world leaders in the fight against climate change. This is acknowledged. What he quotes the United States. Their target is 50% reduction in 2030 from the 1990 level. Our target for 2030 is 68%. It's far in excess of the United States. And yet, once again, he points to other countries with the assumption that here in Britain we were terrible and that everybody else was doing it better, where, in fact, the reverse is the case. It is Britain that people look to as leaders in climate change, and that's something that he himself inwardly actually probably acknowledges. But beyond the histrionics of his speech, they scoff, they laugh, as they scoff and laugh at their own voters. They scoff and laugh at the country endlessly. And I'm afraid, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think they have suffered from their scoffing and mocking attitude.